Thanks for clicking Wayne.com for another edition of Inside the Zone alongside Justin Kinney of the News Sentinel. I'm Glenn Marini. And Justin, let's get to it. Week 1 is now in the books. I don't know if people are overreacting, underreacting, but what was your first takeaway after week 1?
That's tough, too, because we only have one game to decide. So I've been going through my head, okay, is Luers that good? Is Snider that good? Is Dwenger down again? How bad is Wayne? You know, are they mediocre, or is Snider so great? So that's the question. We kind of don't know what to take out of one game, but I'd say very, very impressed with Snider's offense. I think that's the one thing. We kind of knew they were going to be good going into the season, but to see it on display finally on a Friday night, very, very tough Snider defense or Snider offense. Can people keep up with them? Can people score enough points to keep up with them? I think that's the question. We'll find out Friday if Luers can do it.
Yeah, and my biggest takeaway, I was at the Carroll-Northrop game for the first quarter there. Carroll is more physical, I think, defensively than we thought. You think of NHC teams maybe coming into the SAC not having enough physicality, specifically on defense, to get things done. I mean this in a nice way. Carroll was mean on Friday night defensively.
Dudes.
I mean, takeaways, hitting hard. Dylan Connor leads that group. You got Blake Schumacher. You got a number of guys that can make plays. They look mean defensively on Friday night, and I was impressed. We had talked about who are the top teams in the SAC. Luers, Snider coming in. Is Carroll going to be that third? I think they're up there. I think they solidified in my mind that they can be an SAC championship caliber type team with that physicality.
Yeah, and they kind of ease into that schedule. You mentioned they played Northrop. They get South this week, and then they get Northside, kind of their first decent test next week against North. And then they really kind of got to face the gauntlet of the SAC for them. So I guess, you know, it's nice to ease into the thing, but the second half of the schedule, we saw how brutal that was for Dwenger last year. That's what Carroll's got to look forward to the second half of the season.
Let's get cracking on the Luers-Snider game, because that is going to be your highlight zone game of the week. I imagine you guys are going to be out there
we'll be
full
there.
force. It's a good one. You're talking about teams that can put up points offensively. We saw it with Snider this past week. But Luers has an injury concern to talk about. Tell me a little bit about the quarterback situation there.
Coach Noah Zinski, he contacted me yesterday, says, you know, he was limping around like crazy on Friday night. He had gotten stepped on in the Northside scrimmage, re-aggravated in practice, re-aggravated again on Friday. Thought it was just a bone bruise. It's a broken bone in his foot, and it was a metatarsal, second metatarsal.
Second metatarsal in the right foot.
Yeah, he says, you know, he's going to be off it completely till at least Wednesday. Does not expect to miss any time, but, you know, I watched him Friday. He couldn't move back there, and that Dwenger front line was really able to get pressure on him, several sacks on him. You have to expect Snider's going to be just as good, if not better. So having an immobile quarterback back there and not able to step into his throws, he just was thrown off his back foot a lot, just not planting. You know, I expect much of the same on Friday. So how much does that affect the Luers offense? I think Luers could have put up a lot more points on Friday night against Dwenger if they have a healthy quarterback, but they have enough talent to kind of get past Dwenger without it. But I don't think that's going to cut it against Snider.
Speaking of the talent on Luers, Austin Mack doesn't necessarily have to catch 20 passes in a game to have a huge impact. I mean, caught 2 passes for 18 yards, fairly pedestrian night, returned a kick for a touchdown, an interception in the end zone that saved 7, and then a touchdown run. He ran the ball more times than he had in terms of receiving yards, 38 yards rushing the football. So given the fact that he can do so many things, and teams are geared up to stop Austin Mack on Friday nights, and that was the performance we saw this past week. How key is it to try and bottle him up if you're an opposing team?
It's interesting because I thought Dwenger did a really good job against him. You know, Zach Norton did a tremendous job on the outside and single coverage on him most of the night. They didn't have a lot of safety help on Mack, but what Norton did was jammed Mack a lot at the line of scrimmage, did not let him get into his route, and kind of disrupted those timing routes. And then on those fades, which we thought would be unstoppable, he kind of edged Mack over into the sidelines, took him out of bounds. So kind of took that away. So what Kyle Lindsey does, he puts Mack in the wildcat formation. He gets some jet sweeps in there. He gets the ball in his hands. That's what you do with good players. So even if you limit Mack's touches as a receiver, they're going to find ways to get the ball in his hands. And you know, the biggest mistake of the game was Dwenger kicking to him in the start of the second half. They had kicked away from him, punting and everything that first half. And what do? They kick right to him to start the third. And it was tremendous blocking, too. I mean, he had to make one move, basically, and the rest was a huge hole. So you got to find a way to keep the ball away from him, but at the same time, he's going to maximize his touches.
On the Snider side, Isaac Stiebling at the quarterback position, extremely efficient against Wayne, 13 of 15, 171 yards, a couple of touches, ran the ball well when he had to. So what do you do to try and stop that passing game of Snider if you're Luers? And also, we've talked about the number of talented skill position players Snider has. Maybe we sold a guy short in Dominic Scott because it looks like he can run the football, and the combo of him and Money Woods plus the mobility of Isaac, that's a pretty good running trifecta in the backfield if you're Snider.
That's just what Snider needs, another athlete, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, Scott was impressive. Yeah, Money Woods back there. The issue with Snider is for opposing defenses, you can get pressure on Steebling, but he's so quick and elusive, and he can scramble. I mean, he can beat you with his legs. So what's the perfect way to shut down Snider? I'm really not sure right now. So you kind of want to make them one-dimensional in one way, either make them a running attack or passing attack. But I think that Luers' defensive front is stout. It should get pressure. You should be able to slow down a little that offensive Snider. But like I said, we're still kind of unknown with Snider of how good or bad Wayne is. So, I mean, I was more impressed with the way we saw Wayne last year to shut out the Generals. I know they have to replace so much, but to not let them score at all kind of answers a lot of questions for me about that Snider defense.
Yeah, kind of not as many names coming back on that side of the football, but they did a good job against Jonas Thatcher and the Wayne offense. Final question about this game: what is the ultimate factor? What do you think is going to be the deciding factor Friday night in this game, and also, how do you see it playing out in general?
I think for the health of Noah Wazinski, I think, is key. If he's able to move, if he's able to step into his throws and get the ball downfield and deliver it to Austin Mack and guys like that in stride, then they can put up points and they can be in this game. But if Wazinski is hobbled, a lot like what we saw Friday, is he can't move back there, can't evade the rush, then it could be a long night for Luers, because I think this is going to be a game that you're going to have to score into the 30s to win, and Luers needs a healthy quarterback, pure and simple.